Hi! Did you know that the average amount that a person eats every day is 1.5 kilograms, which translates to roughly 550 kilograms of food every year and is equal to more than the weight of two adult black bears? Have we ever wondered what happens to the food we eat once it enters our bodies? Where does it go? Is there some kind of strange magical ceremony happening in there? Or have we imagined what would happen if all the food and the substances and the liquids stay trapped in our bellies? It doesn't happen like that. In this video, we're going to find out the truth about one of the coolest and the most important systems in our bodies, which without it would be impossible. Chimneys and houses are one way that inhabitants of the home get rid of the wastes they produce. The chimneys expel waste gases that are created when they burn fuel in their furnace or fireplace. Similarly, solid trash and recyclables may go to the curb in a trash can or in a recycling bin for pickup and transport to a landfill or recycling center, along with wastewater from sinks, showers, and toilets, which goes into a main sewer pipe system, which is like an underground maze in the globe. A busy home, your body also produces a lot of waste from the buildup from cell activity and digestion that must be eliminated. And that certain process of getting rid of it is what we call excretion. There are a number of different organs of excretion in the human body comprising the excretory system, and its most important mission is to expel substances from our body and to maintain and regulate a stable internal environment despite what our body puts into every single day, which we call homeostasis. The skin, liver, large intestine, lungs, ureters, urethra, bladder, and kidneys made up the star quarterback theme of the excretory system and are doing all the work of excreting wastes. However, they don't work together in the same way that organs do in most other body systems. Each of them does its own thing, more or less independently of all the others, but are all necessary to successfully excrete the full range of wastes from the human body and get rid of wastes depending on the nature of its waste products.
For instance, sweating, which is known for its sticky and stinky nature, is one of the mechanisms by which our body regulates its internal temperature. It eliminates excess water, salts, and small amounts of urea. It also helps us to keep our body temperature within certain boundaries and in different surroundings, a process we call thermoregulation. There are a lot of ways in which sweating occurs, and this is caused by external heat, emotions, or even food we eat. Sweating occurs through approximately 4 million long-coiled hollow tubes of cells that can be found under the surface of our skin, called the sweat glands. The coiled portion is where water containing sodium and chloride, also known as sweat, is generated, and the long tube is the pipe that connects the gland to the outer surface of our skin. There are two main types of sweat glands, namely eccrine and apocrine, and a mix of both, which is called apocrine. Our eccrine gland consists of coiled portion and a duct that leads to the surface of our skin or a pore. This type of sweat gland is mostly concentrated in our palms, soles, underarms, cheek, and forehead. On the other hand, the apocrine gland have a similar structure but are mostly associated with hair follicles. Secretions are emptied via the opening provided by the follicles. Also, apocrine sweat glands are mainly found in our underarms, nipples, perineum, ears, and eyelids. Imagine staying long under the sun. Thermoreceptors that are located all over our body will send a message to the control center in our brain, and it will respond by signaling a response toward heat loss. Skin blood vessels will dilate, sweat glands will be activated, and thus sweating starts to occur. Water is an excellent heat absorbent, so it will absorb much of our body's heat and evaporates it, which in turn cools down our body.
The urinary or renal system helps the body eliminate urea and filter blood, producing urine as waste. After absorbing meals, waste products are left in the bowel and blood. Nephrons filter the blood to remove this waste. There are about 1 million of these. Once cardiac blood enters the kidneys through the renal arteries, it enters a globulus of blood capillaries. Its high pressure squeezes blood, causing chemicals to escape capillaries. These fluids are no longer blood, but a filtrate of water, urea, and other molecules that migrate into the bowman's capsule. Then, it enters the proximal convoluted tubule. Urea and other waste in circulation are excreted by the kidneys as urine. Each kidney's ureter transports urine to the bladder. Urine is then forced away from the kidneys by the ureter through muscle contractions. The bladder's walls then extend to hold urine and compress to expel it through the urethra. Sphincter muscles help prevent urine leakage by constricting the bladder entrance like a rubber band. Nerves in the bladder signal when it's time to urinate. Urine exits through the urethra. The brain signals the bladder muscles to tighten, squeezing urine out. The brain also sends the sphincter muscles relaxing signals so that the urine can exit through the urethra. Normal urination occurs when all of these are in order.
At the same time, the undigested and unabsorbed food now then heads to the large intestine, also known as our colon. Unlike the sewer system, there is no space for a landfill in your body to contain waste, which is why you must be able to expel waste from your body. Therefore, whatever nutrients that couldn't be absorbed by the small intestines are now passed into the large intestine through a muscular opening called the ileocecal valve. In the large intestine, the remains of food are then turned into semi-solid waste called feces for excretion. Its function is not only to remove solid wastes, but also to collect water from the waste that can be reused. Bile secreted into the gastrointestinal tract, which is made in the liver, has certain salts that emulsify fat, so it gets dissolved in the watery digestive juices. This makes it easier for the pancreatic enzymes to digest the fat more rapidly. Bilirubin, the main pigment in bile, is a waste product that is formed from hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen in the blood, and is secreted in bile. It takes about 36 hours for food to fully pass through the large intestine. The large intestine absorbs the remaining water molecules and vitamins. However, not all food can be digested by the body. How exactly does your body manage to get rid of this unwanted food? You guessed it, defecation, a process with which we are all familiar with. The remaining leftover indigestible food or waste settles in the rectum, and once it passes through, the waste leaves our body from the anus.
There you have it, folks. As you can see, there's no magic process that makes our food disappear inside our body, but rather a complex biological pathway along with the myriad of organs associated with our impressively efficient excretory system. Next time, if there's some extra food in your house, don't throw it away. Instead, think of a much better way of getting rid of it, plus boosting your own energy in the process. Go ahead and eat it.